first of all, I want to thank Hickory and Jake for you opening your homes up to us and having that meeting. And then Jake is just amazing. He's tireless, and everybody else who's a member of this club, because we're all on the same page with fighting corruption. I got involved initially. I've run for various things in the past, like my local homeowner association board, but what really infuriated me was finding out that Kimco was going to put 200, the same thing Chris just talked about, 230 apartments in the parking lot of a giant. And my first reaction is, where the heck are they going to put those places? And then I find out about this 5-story monstrosity, which is going to have another ingress and egress on Cedar Lane. And I just got incensed by the fact that it was 89.9% in that referendum. The village board in 2017 sent everyone in the community a questionnaire. What do you think about this? Do you want it? Do you don't want it? Do you want apartments? Do you don't want apartments, etc.? 89.9% of them said we don't want this, and it got approved anyway. And the worst part about this isn't even the fact that these developers will steamroll people and bully us. The worst part about it is that anybody who stands in their way, they accuse of being racist. They end up taking legitimate societal concerns, which are grievous. And what they do is they end up using that to the point where it to completely debases the issue, so that when there's genuine racism that needs to be stood up against and fought, people are like, well, is this really a case of a problem, or is this a developer manipulating me again? And they tear our community of their, like, for example, Deb Young, who we all love to death. She's one of the real characters of integrity on the Howard County Council. They came to her and said, after they got an approval for 6,000 apartments in Columbia. She said, well, listen, you're going to have to pay your fair share of taxes. Your tax rate is way lower than the surrounding jurisdictions. And because of these additional people mean additional monies we're going to need for schools and infrastructure. And they said, if you vote for that tax increase, we're going to find somebody to vote against you. We're going to get you kicked out of your office. And they found this guy. We all know who he is. And they spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. My honest opinion and her opinion is she would have probably been defeated by this corrupt machine if it wasn't for Howard County watchdogs and progressive Democrats. So we have to stand up to this. I love what Jake's doing with the Howard County watchdogs and everybody else who participates. If you don't have a subscription to that, please get it. That's the only true mouthpiece for news in the county right now. And secondly, I'm asking to be reelected. I'm currently the chair of the Hickory Ridge Village Board. And if I'm reelected, I'm going to continue. We voted money to have people stand up, we voted money for an attorney to help stand up for this corruption. And one of the things that I'm encouraging all of you to vote for the Columbia Board of Directors that is so super important is that they are running another scam where they are selling environmental easements to corporations for pennies on the dollar. And then these corporations use these, like WSSI, will then sell them to developers so they can further despoil our environment. So in other words, they take an excavator to open space and completely demolish it, make it so that the wildlife can't even inhabit the place. And then they get a huge environmental credit of millions of dollars for this. And I know I need to wrap things up, but I can't even touch the tip of the iceberg. But another local political leader told me recently, and I'm not going to mention this person's name because they may or may not want it known publicly, but it's supposedly in Annapolis, we are considered to be the most corrupt county in Maryland. And we need to stand up to these people. And last thing I do want to say, I'm not against development. I want to see people of color, people of every background. I'm from a mixed ethnicity household myself. I want to see the equity in these communities accrue to the residents. I don't want these apartments are nothing more than drywall cages. And they stuff people in there and they give them vouchers. And then all of the equity accrues to the corporation. I want rent control in this area. I want these companies to not be able to have 20% rent increases per year, which is what they're doing downtown. And I want to see this thing turn into a situation where the equity goes to the people in our community, where we help close the wealth disparity between various demographics. And we do that by making them homeowners, not by sticking them in cardboard cages. Thank you.